Hi everyone, Alan from Newlands Nursery. Welcome to today's 5-Minute Friday. And today, as the weather gets colder, the days get colder, the nights definitely get colder, we are thinking about protecting some of our tender perennials. And in particular, I'm focusing on things like this, like some of the more tender fuchsias, salvias, some of those are more tender. I've got a gaura here which isn't particularly tender in Essex, but if you live in the north of Scotland, for example, it's going to be tender. So it's going to vary from place to place, and you know your weather better than I do. But if you're concerned about a perennial that you think might be tender, definitely on the side of caution and protect it. So with this video, I'm specifically looking at containers as well. They are going to suffer more from cold conditions than stuff in the garden often. The reason being is the frost and cold weather can get in from the sides as well. You'd be amazed how much temperature, how much heat is held in the ground, even in the depth of the winter. If you've ever dug a hole in the depths of the winter, you get really, really frozen bits, but when you get below, it's perfectly fine. So the ground brings an element of warmth to it, which containers don't benefit from. So if you can't bring the plants in, you haven't got space for whatever reason, then fleecing and protecting the plant is the thing to do. The first thing to do is check the base of the plant. So the reason I say this is at the bottom of any good container, you're going to have holes in it. And often those holes are raised off the surface of the pot, which really, really does help. But it is quite common as you water the plant over the summer, for example, a little bit of compost comes out every single time and it seals these holes. So check that before you do anything. And if you've got any concerns of that, you can always raise it off the ground with a few stones or rocks or whatever, because drainage is going to be key for almost all plants through the winter. Now you've done that, and in this particular case, I've cut this gaura back, ready for next spring, which is the right thing to do. We need to protect it. So I've got here, this isn't a specific fleece. This is actually something that got delivered with a load of dog food, but it's wool. Okay, you also get this type of product in deliveries with food, frozen food and stuff like that. So maybe at Christmas you might be getting a turkey come or something like that. So there's lots of these things around. You can obviously get horticultural fleece and things like that. The principle is exactly the same, but this wool is really, really good. So what I want to do is first concentrating on protecting the actual pot, and I just wrap it up the same as you would anything. Just wrap it up. What I'm not doing is placing this underneath, because like I said, we want the drainage, we want it to drain well. And covering it like that is absolutely fine. That's probably going to do 99% of the job. But you can also cover the top as well. So that can also be a bit more fiddly. And if you've got a plant, you need to wrap it around the base. When we're protecting perennial plants over the winter, especially ones that can sprout from the base, we care less about that top bit of growth than we do about the real crown of the plant. That's where the strength is, that's where the value for the plant is. If it loses its top, it doesn't actually matter. It's the crown of the plant. We want to stop the frost really penetrating. So just placing that like that, and then you can kind of wrap it round just to keep it tucked in like that. It's as simple as that. It looks a bit odd in your garden. You might end up with a patio of these, but anyone who knows their plants will know exactly what you're doing. You can do exactly the same principle if it's in the ground as well. Just wrap it up, keep it like that. So it stops a huge amount of rain getting on there if you don't want it to sit wet. And like I say, it stops the cold weather really, really getting in. If it ends up being super mild, you can always take the top off, let it breathe a little bit, let a bit of warmth in there, and then cover it up, and make sure you do. You're probably better off, if you're not entirely sure, you're going to remember to cover it back up, just to leave it like it is, and then come next year, uncover it, and away it will grow. Any questions at all, get in contact. See you soon.